Have you ever wondered what actually happens when a group of seasoned professionals are forced to take a really hard look in the mirror? Well, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly fascinating collection of raw, deeply personal reflections from the CFRO June 2026 workshop. Now, we aren't looking at some polished corporate marketing brochure or a top-down syllabus here. No, we're looking at the immediate, unvarnished aftermath of a deeply transformative experience. What actually happens when people are given a framework to challenge their own behaviors and mindsets? Let's find out.
What you're seeing right here, this is our source material. It's essentially a massive, dense spreadsheet filled with totally unstructured, candid feedback straight from the participants. On the surface, sure, it kind of just looks like rows and columns of text, but as we really dug into this data, reading through their top 3 learnings and exactly how they plan to apply them to their daily lives, a really profound narrative started to emerge. So we're going to take this giant brain dump and synthesize it into a highly structured journey of human transformation.
To make sense of all these unique sharings, we've organized them into a clear roadmap. 1. The illusion of reality. 2. The art of true listening. 3. Symptoms, structures, and mental models. 4. Taking the empathy walk. 5. The power of smart selfishness. And finally, 6. A new way of living.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the illusion of reality.
So we've all done this, right? We walk around assuming our viewpoints are the absolute objective truth. But the data reveals this massive collective light bulb moment among the attendees. They suddenly realize that different people can look at the exact same situation and see something completely different. Realizing that your reality is really just a perception, that's the absolute first step to genuine empathy.
I absolutely love how one participant captured this feeling of isolation. They used this brilliant cinematic metaphor. Think about it. It's like we're all sitting in the exact same movie theater, but we're all watching entirely different screens, and we're totally convinced ours is the only movie playing. This unique sharing really hits the nail on the head as to why miscommunication is just so rampant. I mean, if you don't realize the other person is watching a different movie, how on earth can you possibly understand their actions?
And this realization, it was literally a shock to the system. One participant went as far as comparing it to waking up from the Matrix. Now, okay, they specifically reference taking the blue pill here, but the sentiment is loud and clear. This was a reality-shattering moment of awakening for them. This wasn't just some neat corporate training tip, it was a fundamental, ground-up shift in how they view their entire existence and manage their life.
Moving right along, let's jump into Section 2, the art of true listening. Now that the illusion of reality is totally shattered, the feedback highlighted a super powerful tool to navigate the real world called factual listening. And listen, this isn't just nodding and staying quiet while the other person speaks. Not at all. It actually demands that we actively hunt for data that proves our own opinions wrong. It's all about listening with a completely open mind and heart, instead of just, waiting for your turn to speak so you can confirm your own biases.
This specific takeaway is just fantastic. It says, as a leader, you need to become a doctor, not a chemist. Think about the difference there. A chemist just mixes ingredients to get a transaction, a reaction. But a real doctor actually sits down with the patient, listens deeply to their symptoms, withholds any immediate judgment, and diagnoses with an open heart. It's a profound shift from just prescribing quick fixes to actually deeply understanding the human being sitting in front of you.
And over again, the source material revealed this really uncomfortable truth. Honestly, we can probably all relate to this. As human beings, we are basically biologically wired to just download our own opinions. We are not naturally designed for listening. Acknowledging this inherent flaw is the only way to actually overcome it. We literally have to fight our own human nature every single time we enter a conversation if we actually want to connect.
Which brings us to Section 3. Symptoms, structures, and mental models.
This step-by-step systems thinking framework was cited repeatedly by participants. It was their key to finally moving away from temporary band-aid fixes. Instead of playing an endless game of whack-a-mole with daily issues, they learned to, Step 1, spot recurring symptoms, then, Step 2, dig down to uncover the structural causes, and finally, Step 3, identify the deeply held mental models that built those structures in the first place. It really is a masterclass in root cause analysis. Because here's the thing, treating the symptom just hides the broken structure. As one person pointed out in their sharing, true growth requires completely rebuilding the underlying systems that drive the behavior. Basically, if the structure itself is broken, the symptoms are always going to return, no matter how good your intentions are. Nothing happens unless you build the right organizational structure.
Okay, let's dive into Section 4, taking the empathy walk.
So, by practically stepping into another person's shoes through this empathy walk, participants learned they could actively heal the world from 3 very specific buckets of disconnect. We're talking about the ecological divide, the social divide, and the spiritual divide. By genuinely walking in the shoes of a colleague, a client, or even a family member, they found a real, tangible method to bridge these massive gaps.
But to actually take that walk, you have to make a massive mental shift. You have to completely abandon an egocentric worldview, where literally everything revolves around your own interests and assumptions. Instead, you have to adopt a totally ecocentric one. In an ecocentric model, you're focused on the health of the entire broader ecosystem, using that deep empathy and open-hearted listening we talked about to figure out your place within the larger whole. There is just such a blunt, refreshing honesty to this next realization. The customer, or really any stakeholder, isn't actually interested in you. They are intensely focused on their own dreams and aspirations. And you know what? Realizing that people aren't inherently interested in you is actually incredibly freeing. It takes the pressure off. It allows you to become completely, genuinely interested in them.
This leads us directly to a seemingly contradictory concept in Section 5, the power of smart selfishness.
This is a concept the participants absolutely loved. It's this idea that being selfish about your own success isn't actually a bad thing, provided it's smart selfishness. It's the profound realization that you simply cannot succeed alone. If you want personal success, you have to ensure your company's success. And to do that, you must be intensely, genuinely dedicated to the success of your customers and peers. So, your selfish goals literally require you to be entirely selfless in your actions. How cool is that?
And to achieve this interconnected success, you have to stop acting like a replaceable resource who's just sitting around waiting for instructions. Instead, you have to become a source. You become the origin point of success. You take total ownership of the value you create, and you drive transformation from within. You become the genesis of that success, not just some disposable cog in a machine. Let's move to our final section, Section 6, a new way of living.
When you take all these mental models and put them together, that old victim mentality is just completely eradicated. As one participant so firmly stated, "I'll stop playing a victim to become a leader." When you truly understand the structures at play and recognize your own power as a source, you naturally move out of a passive state and step into a state of absolute, total ownership. But honestly, perhaps the most profound takeaway from this entire dataset is seeing how these corporate tools translate into people's personal lives. This participant shared that they found a new pathway to finally consciously connect with their son, something they openly admitted they hadn't done much of in their life up to this point. It just goes to show that open heart listening doesn't just fix organizational structures, it has the incredible power to heal our most vital, intimate relationships. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with the exact same systemic challenge these participants are now facing in their own lives. We've seen the raw data of their transformations. So, knowing that your reality is really just a perception, and knowing that your success is deeply, inextricably interconnected with everyone around you, what future calls you to be and create? Take a moment to really think about that. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.